Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
We are part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to help make it one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are back to sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, sit-with-your-dog-or-cat-worthy podcast. Today is Monday, the 18th of October, 2021. Hello, Kristy.
Hello, Summers. Good morning.
Good morning. So I'm feeling very Halloween up in this joint here. And I just want to thank you, Kristy, for helping me acquire real life Halloween decorations. June.
You wouldn't be talking about those two little black kittens that we saved from the parking lot.
Why, yes, I am.
Okay.
Thunder and Stormy. I think it's been a while since we've offered our listeners a Thunder and Stormy update, huh?
It has been.
So they are doing well. They are now, 7 months old, 6 months old, and they are enormous. They are kittens, and they play like kittens, but they are huge. They give my dog a run for her money because she loves playing with them. They're sort of starting to outrank the other cats. And I wish you could see your kittens. If you could remember them at the tiny, teeny, tiny size they were in our palms of our hands, that's about the size of their heads now.
Wow.
It's crazy. So
that's. Do you think they're actually cats or maybe they are panthers?
I think they're panthers. So I think they're probably panthers. And I laugh because the other day I was in the store and somebody made a crazy cat lady joke. And I was like, hey, don't knock us. Some of us end up here unintentionally.
You're doing a good thing for the world. And I'm sure your Halloween decorations will be wonderfully enhanced by having those stalking felines.
Exactly. They're pretty cute. So speaking of Halloween, do you have any upcoming Halloween or Day of the Dead plans or any way that you're going to celebrate this fall tradition?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I don't have a little tiny kid.
Right.
My son is trying to decide if he wants to do anything, but he's a little old to do the dress up and trick or treating thing.
Right.
He's really excited about being back to in-person schooling. Maybe they'll do some sort of a Halloween party. I don't know. He's not sharing a lot there. So he's kind of beyond the cool, let's go get candy.
Right.
He's got his own ATM card now. He can go buy his own candy.
He doesn't have to knock on strangers' doors.
Exactly. And I'm just trying to keep everything going with, working and driving, and the fire is still going, although it's much better. It's gotten more contained, but
I'm trying very hard to get super into the changing seasons because even though the pandemic is in a different phase and even though things are different, it can often feel a bit like, Groundhog Day. So my changing decorations and going all out for Halloween is my effort to keep myself feeling.
California doesn't really have seasons either. So it's not like, it's not that serious there. I'm really excited about Thanksgiving this year because I think we are going to be able to do a family gathering Thanksgiving, and that is one of my favorite holidays. So I'm looking forward to that. But
good.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of looking forward to things, we've got some stories to get into.
Yeah, we do. We have some great articles today. Yeah.
Which one do you want to talk about first? Your call.
Well, I'll just do the quick update. I'll do mine first because it's a little less meaty in terms of what we're going to dig into. But the headline that I wanted to highlight reads that Volvo unveils the world's first electric vehicle made with fossil-free steel. And I think this is a really important milestone to commemorate. We shared a story a couple months ago about the world's first fossil-free steel delivery arriving at a Volvo car factory in Sweden. And this is part of the car maker's plans to ensure that its entire business operation, including the supply chain, gets to climate neutral by 2050. And this is climate neutral, not buying carbon offsets necessarily, but actually changing the mode of
doing
production.
The work. Exactly. Doing
And
the work to earn
that's
it.
what's really important. So steel is one of the most energy intensive materials to construct, to make.
Mm-hmm.
And so traditionally it's made by using coal to heat up the electric and a furnace to be able to make the steel. This process, which has been developed by Swedish steel manufacturer SSAB, is a significantly more sustainable process that uses green hydrogen. And green hydrogen is hydrogen which is made from renewable resources like wind and solar and hydropower, and using that electricity to break apart water, to electrolyze water into hydrogen. And the byproduct from that is just oxygen and water.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very low impact on the environment, and it's a good fuel, a good alternative to some of the other fuels that we've used to create the heat you need to make steel. But what this green hydrogen does is it replaces the traditional coal-fired blast furnace with an electric arc furnace that's powered by hydrogen. And this is it's a milestone. It's still in the development phase as hydrogen gets cheaper and these kind of new technologies come into the manufacturing process. The carbon footprint of steel will go down. So what you get in the end is a metal boasting the same characteristics as conventional steel, but without using the fossil fuels in its production. So it's tremendously lighter footprint in terms of the carbon footprint.
Well, and we've talked about this a lot, which is not just fixing one part of supply chain, one part of the process, right? This is a holistic solution.
It is.
And recognizing that you can't just get rid of fossil fuels and then go into batteries and have dangerous production around batteries. Like all of it has to be improved.
It has to be. You have to think about the entire life cycle. We talk about the end, but this is the beginning. Right? It's before you get to the car. What they've actually made with this first delivery of steel is not a production car. Rather, it's a load carrier. It's a little truck, a lorry.
Okay.
It's a truck that is going to be used for mining operations and keeping things going at the car manufacturing plant. But they do plan to bring more green steel into the production of a line of cars coming in 2022. And that will be that first small scale production just to work out all the kinks. And then it will be rolling into mass production in the years after that. That's the goal from both Volvo and SSAB. So I just think this is a good milestone. They made a vehicle. It's not an actual car, but it's a car which will also be used to make more cars and to just control the whole operation plant. And so as we were saying, you need to think about the entire supply chain even before you make the car. Then you've also got to generate the energy that runs it with more cleaner sources as well.
Right, like plugging it into a coal-powered outlet.
Exactly.
Not actually the point.
Right. So that is still actually, that still shows.
Still better.
Still better than ICE cars. Anyways, that was my story that I
like your story.
About. Yeah.
I like your story. I'm gonna shift from electronics and steel, and I'm heading straight into the uterus. My headline reads
the uterine
beat. Exactly. I'm on the uterine beat here at the Optimist Daily Update. My headline reads, menstrual cycle changes before menopause indicate heart disease risk. Now, we know that heart disease is one of the number one killers of women, right? It is a silent, unexpected, and oftentimes not discussed because the expectation and sort of the marketing behind heart disease is that it's the stereotype is that you have these violent heart attacks, the widowmaker type heart disease. That's what everyone's concerned about. Well, the reality is that women die of heart disease at large numbers, and scientists and medical gurus are identifying ways of looking into female vascular health prior to the onset of heart disease. Now, as we know,
because I'm in that perimenopause stage, right? And so this is a very interesting article for those of us, and this is just a natural part of the aging process, right? Yeah. But it's interesting that there's a link and that they're starting to study this.
Right.
I think it just also highlights how thinking about women's health issues as just part of the human health, it's starting to come into awareness in the medical profession.
Mm-hmm. And we, at the Optimist Daily, we work so hard to cover women's health stories, because oftentimes they aren't primary stories in the news media. In fact, so much we were on such the women's health beat, we were reminded by our readers that we should cover some men's health beats too.
Right.
But getting to the details of this, the details of this story. So some folks at the University of Pittsburgh discovered a link between two unlikely body systems, the heart and menstruation. According to the research, menstruators whose menstrual cycles increased in length 2 years before their final menstrual period had strong vascular health. Now, menstruators whose period length increased 5 years prior to the cessation of menstruation actually had not strong vascular health. And then the median, so it's a bit of a bell curve of no change, is just sort of a baseline on population and vascular health. So what it's showing is that change in cycle length, which is linked to hormone levels, is a simple metric that might tell us more of who is at risk. Now, there's not necessarily anything anyone biologically can do to change their hormone levels, right? We can take, hormone replacement therapy and things like that when you're going into your menopausal period. But this baseline is really based around what was just existent in each of the participants' bodies without any additional hormone replacement. Mm-hmm. So postmenopausal women identifying the hormones, basically, like moving forward, the researchers plan to measure hormone levels in pre- and postmenopausal women to identify which of these hormones seems to be most strongly at play. They also want to compare menstrual trends with other cardio risk factors like abdominal fat and, probably lifestyle choices as well. It's fascinating because there's a link, right? And knowing is half the battle. Knowing that you are more likely to be at risk for heart disease as a woman will help you make those lifestyle changes in your postmenopausal years. So I just thought this was very interesting. My cycle's been just pretty much steady and true for the last 4 or 5 years since, conceiving my daughter. But I do, like you, Kristy, know that I am entering my, reduction of hormones, right? And that menopausal period that is going to come, and honoring it and making sure that we know more about it, I think is really good for the world and really good for women.
Yeah. And I like that we're talking about it here. It's something that a lot of people shy away from mentioning. Feels like it's something you shouldn't, it's one of those unmentionables. But we've done that. Yesterday we were talking, or on Friday we were talking about poop.
Yep.
It's just another natural process. You were talking about potty training your daughter, and we were talking about fish poop and how essential that is for ocean health and for carbon sequestration of the oceans.
Yeah.
Knowing that the way that our cycles change as women can lead to an analysis of our overall vascular health and our cardiovascular disease risk is really important to think about. And so I just like this. I like that they're studying this, and I like that they're thinking about it, and that it's become a question that is getting research dollars.
Exactly. Worth learning about, worth sharing. There are other stories that are worth learning about and worth sharing on the Optimist Daily today, including 5 more reasons to have houseplants under your roof, or in Kristy's case, the forest in her office. Norwegian law aims to protect its residents' self-esteem. There is a new tool, which is a roadmap for safe renewable energy development in Maine. And we have an expert's guide to the 6 stages of transformative travel. Ooh, I want to go on a transformative journey. What else, Kristy, is on the Optimist Daily today?
Hamburg has introduced energy-saving digitally automated tram. Quick tests that can alert you to mold in your home. Super simple.
Yeah, really simple. Exactly. Really simple on that one.
Do it. Doesn't require any new device or anything. California is saying goodbye to gas-powered gardening equipment, which puts a surprisingly incredible amount of pollution into our air, and it's really bad. It's worse than driving 1,700 miles in a gas-powered car.
It's crazy to think about. Yeah.
One leaf blower. And then there's a celebrated landscape architect who finds beauty at the margins of public space. So that and more on today's Optimist Daily. Go check it out on our newly launched version of the Optimist Daily. And that's it for today's Optimist Daily Update. We'll be back tomorrow, and we promise to keep sharing these positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in the changing world and help ensure it is changed for the good for both you and communities and for everybody. We promise to keep covering current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offering you the information we all need to help chart new paths for all of us. And if you're not already signed up as an emissary and you have the means, please do consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com. And for starting at just $5 a month, you can help support reader-funded independent journalism. Be a part of the solution-changing consciousness that addresses our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset.
Let's keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can. Thank you for a great start to my Monday, Kristy. Everybody, you have a great start to your week, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey.